Welcome back to the Unknown Angler.
What I'm going to make today is Foxy brushes, and these are going to be for the Peppermint Punisher. You can use them on anything, but I just wanted to show you how we do just a straight up fur brush. This is all fox fur, and these were actually sent to me by a good friend of mine over at Glacier Wares, Randy Richards. He's a buddy of mine from high school, actually. I'll put a link to Glacier Wares down below. I don't think he sells to the public, but if you're a store and you need some good stock, he'd probably sell to you. But this is just straight up fox. So if you go into a store and you get some Arctic fox in the Zonker strips or the Arctic fox strips, chartreuse red and white will do you just fine. So I'll show you how to make a fox fur brush. Today we're going to tie a Foxy brush. You can tie the Foxy brush in all kinds of different colors. And afterwards I'm going to show you how to tie one fly, which is the Peppermint Punisher, which is used which you use the Foxy brush on. And there's other flies you can tie with it, a lot of other flies. This is the Matagorda mullet. And I don't know why that's a mullet fly, but I don't name them. Anyway, going to start out with our medium wire. Okay, so fox fur, I get it from a friend, like I said at the beginning of the video. If you get it in a big bunch like this, make sure you do a quick brush out before you even start using it. Try to get a little of the underfur out of there. You're not going to get a lot. But this is probably one of the easiest brushes you'll make. Just don't overthink it and don't try to keep it too sparse. This stuff really compacts down well. So what that means is when I get a bunch like this out, I'm just going to take the whole bunch, kind of lay it down and spread it out. Now you got some longer stuff in there, you got some shorter stuff. We'll work all that out in a little bit, okay? Okay. Once you've got it laid down on the table, it seems like there's a lot there, but this, like I said, this will compact down a lot. Get some wax on your wire. Get over the top, spinning it a little bit. Now the one thing about this is fox furs are probably only going to be about 2 inches long or so for the body of the fur. So what we're going to do is we're going to push all of that up to one side of the brush. Leave yourself at least a 1/4 inch showing on the bottom side, and while you're doing this you can spread it out a little bit more. Once you have the second wire on top, everything pretty much stays in place pretty well. You want to spread it out a little bit, pull those things together, cover up some gaps. You can pull that out, and you'll notice how you get long fibers on one side, short fibers on the other, but it doesn't matter because once you start spinning it, everything's going to come into the round. Now the other thing about fox fur like this is it does tend to ball up in here a little bit. So you are going to need to do the first pick out you should do with your bodkin so that you don't lose half of your brush. And that's why you also keep it as dense as we keep it right here, because you're going to lose a lot of fibers when you pick out. But just do a light general pick out in here. Like I said, you're going to lose a lot of your fibers when you do the first one. It's just the nature of the beast. Do not worry about it too much. It actually helps in thinning out the brush a little bit, making for a nice clean brush. Okay, once you go through with your initial pick out, spin again. And you definitely want to overdo on the spinning on this one. I'm looking for a 1/4 inch down here. That means I've got enough tension in here. Once I get about a 1/4 inch out, I can then take my pet brush and really go over it. Now it's going to take out, you know, a fair amount of the underfur. Don't worry about that, because you're still going to have a pretty darn lush brush. Geez, I didn't even think that was going to sound as bad as it did. You're going to have a very nice brush when you're done with all of this. All right. So once again, some of the heavier stuff fell out, but that's okay. Go back and just do one. Try to pull everything out to one side here and just do one more spin. Remember to make it 10 or 20 turns from the other side also. And over this one more time. And there you have it. Pretty nice brush. Depending on the fox fur you have, you'll get varying densities of brush coming out of there. This red happens to be probably the shortest fox fur I have, which tends to make a shorter brush, but you just need to work with it. Anyway, let's take this upstairs and go tie some flies. Start out with a 2/0 short-shanked tarpon hook. You can start with any short-shanked hook, and then we're going to add to that some extra large bead chain eyes. I'm going to start quite a ways in back of the hook eye. Add a little bit of Loctite. To the bottom of the fly. I'm going to wind all the way back to the hook bend. Now I'm going to take about a 2-inch patch of white craft fur, about a 2.5 inch to 3-inch tail. All right, we're going to add just a little bit of flash. I take 2 strands of the crinkle mirror flash and I put it on either side. Like to give those a little tug, pull them straight alongside. It's not like you haven't seen me do this a bunch of times. Well, if you watch my videos, cut that off. You have a nice little tail there. And the first thing I'm going to do is take a white Foxy brush. And I added a little bit of flash to this because this is the underbrush on this one. So you can add a little bit of polar flash to them. And you really don't need a whole lot in here, so just 3 or 4 turns of the Foxy brush. Pulling all the fibers back that you can. And one more. You don't need to tie all the way up to the eyes. We're about to add another Foxy brush in there. Now before I do anything, I'm just going to put a quick half inch in here and just pick this out. Real rough pick out. You don't have to be great about this because you're going to pick it out all over again. But it's nice to pick out the white prior to putting on the red. And you'll see how nicely that fox brush picks out. It's beautiful. There you go. Gonna wrap that down. I'm going to tie back maybe 1/8 of an inch behind there, make a little bit of a, gap in there with some thread, and we're going to tie in that red Foxy brush we made right here. And just advance your thread to the front of the eye, pull all this back, and make at least 2 complete turns in here. 1, that's 2. Give it 1 more. There we go. The way I like to finish this fly off is to pull it forward on the underside of the hook. And whoops, hit the camera, sorry about that. 2, 3, lift her up. Cut the Foxy brush. Try to get all those fibers, stray fibers, pulled back. If you can, if you can't, quite simply cut them off. And then neaten up the head, because you're all done. You can put a weed guard on this if you plan on fishing it in the mangroves. This is a great snook pattern. It's also a great speckled trout pattern. If you're planning on fishing it in weed beds and mangroves, always finish it off with a nice little weed guard. I'm planning on beach fishing these. Here we go. Some of these fibers really get trapped. Just get underneath them, pull them out. There we go. See you next time.